Hi guys, Berry Babe here, checking in. This is one of my HCG boutique items. Now it's an extra large and it just fits. So who can say large, extra large, medium? There will be food mentioned. I'm trying out this new way of eating and I'm sorry I can't do it without talking about what I'm doing. I was up this morning. I'm up a decent amount. I'm not up 5 pounds over my LIW yet, but I had taken a water pill and I'm looking at my ankles and I see sock marks. So I'm slowly starting to refill again. I haven't equalized that yet. Where to begin? I think I might have got it. I've been waiting for it, and I think I might have got it. I think it came last night, just when I was trying to fall asleep. I think I might be keto adapted. I'm reading, and I'll show them to you. I just didn't bring them out this time. There are two books by some leaders in the field, and one is just the general low carbohydrate book that talks about history and why when your insulin goes up, the fat goes in, that sort of thing. But the other one is designed for athletes, and it talks more about how to design your food plan and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not an athlete, but I do want to become more muscular because I'm still like 34% fat. And a good range for women is to be 25% fat. And the keto is actually supposed to help with the conversion of fat to muscle. But I have to find out how to do that. And I was reading today, I did get on the treadmill today, not because of any reason except I wanted to. But as I was lying there last night, I started thinking, okay, how long? Because they keep talking about 4 weeks keto adapted, 4 weeks keto adapted. And some can go real fast, like 2, and some take 6. So if I take a look at my 11-day fast, almost 12 days fast, and then 11 days on P3 plus 3 days of purgatory, that's putting me at about 5 weeks. And all of a sudden, it was like I got an uplifted feeling, and I thought, well, I'm going to think about that as I go to sleep instead of, oh God, when's it going to get here? How long is it going to take? And so I had a hard time getting to sleep because I have the ADHD thing going on, so it's like I got to keep something with this side of my brain going so this side can fall asleep, and usually it's like making lists and things like that. But when I started thinking about the keto adaptive, it was possibilities, and then it's like the ideas start shooting. And so this morning when I got up, now I have very low iron. Like I have low iron. Like I'm this far from being eligible for a transfusion. I was really surprised. My ferritin has to get down to 10, and I think my last reading was 16. 20 is the bottom of the range. So I'm below, it's 20 to 100 and something, and I'm 16, and my insurance won't pay for a transfusion until I get to 10. So I'm starting to run closer to empty. The last time I was at this point, though, I was hauling ass, just literally hauling my ass around. I was having a real hard time. So the difference between now and then is night and day. And I know that getting the weight off, I'm not hauling that around. I don't have that on my joints. And putting the carbs down, I know that I react to that. If I were to start eating carbs again, I would balloon the 5 to 7 pounds of, not only for the carbs, but every carb molecule holds water with it. So that's the thing. If you cheat, not only do you throw yourself out of being keto adapted, but you have to go through keto flu all over again. Oh my God, that may be enough to keep me from doing it. However, you know, when I talked about the endocrinologist in the Beat the Pie, there was this article I was reading where the guy says, how can I eat the wedding cake? And he figured there's a nutrient, a couple of keto counters or just counters that if there are this many carbs in this item, how much fat you would have to ingest at the same time to make that a keto meal. I don't know. I don't know. I have to look at that again. Everything I'm reading says that you have to keep your carbs under 50. I've been shooting for 20 net carbs, and yesterday I was at 40 total carbs. I did go back. I was up yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I was up again this morning. I looked at my, I looked at my macros again, and I had factored in malabsorption 15% on protein, so I had upped my protein. However, on keto, the idea is to keep your protein very moderate, because if you eat too much protein, just like too many carbs, the insulin, it'll turn into sugar and it'll get slammed into your cells as fat. So I was at almost 1,800 calories because of that, and when I revamped, it brought me down to closer to 1,500, which at 140 pounds, even at 5'8", 1,500, I think sounds reasonable. Unless you're trying to throw some carbs in there, and then it's hard to fit your carbs in it with 1,500 calories. But I've met my protein for the day, and I had trouble staying that low. In fact, I didn't, after I had served my dinner and I plugged it in, I left some behind because I was over. Now I have fat and I have some carbs left. So I think I need to find a fat bomb, because fat and carbs are two things that you make fat bombs with, like chocolate delight or something like that. But for dinner, you know, I got this thing about wanting things that are familiar, and I did find a taco seasoning recipe, and it has like 12 different items. You know, measure this, measure this, measure this, measure this, measure this, shake it up. And I had Taco Bell packets in the cupboard. So for 3 carbs, I got to use 2 teaspoons of Taco Bell powder, and I mixed it with 3 ounces of already browned hamburger. And so that tastes familiar, and that tells me that if I'm still in ketosis, and I'll check later tonight with my light meter, that when we're on the road, I could stop in and get a side of the Taco Bell meat. And now theirs might be a heavier concentration, but I probably could do okay. Now I don't know if I would get their cheese or just use cheese out of the trailer, but what I used instead of nacho chips, because usually I would get the tacos with just the meat and the cheese, and then I would take the meat and cheese out, and I would get fresh chips and eat it on chips. The meat and the cheese. But I tried putting, Jamie, I'm thinking of you. I used to make, in the old days, in the fat days, tortilla chips with shredded cheese on top, and I'd put them under the broiler, and then I would take my taco meat and I would spoon it on and eat it that way. Well, I had some pork rinds from Aldi's, and they're just very big and fluffy and pretty bland, actually. And so I broke some of those up, and I put a horrendous amount of cheese on top, and I put them under the broiler. And I use no-stick foil, so when the cheese melts to the foil, all I have to do is peel it off. And what happened was that the pork rinds just went under the water of that cheese. So if I put the cheese in the oven again, I would just put it on the foil, and then I would rip pieces off and put it on top of the pork rind. Because pork rinds have protein in them. They have fat in them, but they have protein in them. They have no carbs, but they have protein. And I was in trouble with my protein. I ate Jell-O. I shouldn't have eaten Jell-O. I had some Jell-O. I had a little protein. Now, hold on, just a little bit. So I'm going to have to get, what I think I'll end up doing is having some things that I know the gestalt of what, if I eat this together, this is what it looks like, and I'll have, you know, they suggest you come up with 7 days of meals, and then you just repeat them over and over again. So I don't know if I'll do that, but I'll know that 3 ounces of meat was just right, and 45 grams of cheese was probably too much, which is more than a serving. 28 grams is a serving. And then I kind of lost the pork rinds. I ended up taking in the protein and the fat, but I didn't get the crunch of the pork rinds. So I would just, they have all these everywhere, and I can just keep those in the trailer, and when we go into Taco Bell, I'll just take some pork rinds with me. Now, you could taco salad, you can break them up, or I could have poured the meat and cheese on top. There are all different kinds of things you can do. I think I might end up just doing a taco bowl where you break them up and then you put the cheese in, or I would put the cheese in and melt it in there and then anyway, adventures in pork rinds, right? So last night the picnic went well. I did have some rebound eating though. My shirt was a hit. The oldest lady there really liked it. It's an old lady shirt, what can I say? Lots of colors. Her daughter's blind. And her daughter was saying, well, what colors does it have in it? She's been blind all her life. So her mother was naming all of it. It has all the colors in it. I don't think there's a color that isn't in that shirt. But I did end up getting into it from Whole Foods. I had gotten some almond crackers, and they're very good. And they have onion salt on the top. And that makes them a little addicted, and they're about 1 carb each. And so last night when I got home, I had a little bit of Halo Top, and too many of those. And so this morning I was pleased that I still blew 4 red blips, which is solid ketosis. So, yay! I'm trying to save my strips to make them last. So my next event is Sunday at 5. We go to my sister's, and my brother is coming up from Virginia, DC area. He's coming up in, we have a little town in Frankenmuth, and he has a bud that lives there, and it's a Bavarian town. Everything's Bavarian themed, and they have famous chicken dinners where you go and they used to bring big platters. Now I've been going there for 50 years. They're much longer than that, actually. They're much skimpier now. They used to bring just huge quantities of all kinds of things, and now they really don't. Not that I care anymore. But he's going to the car show there, and he and his buds have been doing something, and I guess they're going to a Tigers baseball game. They've got a skybox rented, and they're taking my nephew and his girlfriend. But my brother and his friends will be there. Now, my sister's a farmer's wife. She's a teacher. She's an art teacher. Her husband's a farmer. She's not really a farmer's wife in that respect, with the apron and she's had a garden, but she's not super artsy, but it's like whenever my brother comes, he's got to be the prodigal son, the center of attention, whatever he wants. And he'll bring extravagant liquor, and he'll want to be showing off. And my sister's chipmunk again. Instead of a squirrel, I got a chipmunk. My sister it's stress. She's got 3 boys. The last one's in high school, but the other one lives next door, and the other one is still in college, and they're in and out of her house all the time, and they just come in and drop their shit all over the place, and so she's always cleaning up, and she's not a natural housekeeper either. We didn't get that from my mother. So we are spending the night at the campground. We're on the lake. We're in a different site this time, where we're right. When you open our door, the lake will be right there, and then you'll be able to see the lake out the front window. So it's quite a nice site. It's down ways from the bathrooms, but it's like right on the corner when people drive around. But it's going to be Sunday night, Monday. We're going to stay Sunday night and Monday night. I don't know if we're staying Tuesday night or not. So that's a little getaway, and I'm more relaxed about eating than I've been before. So I gotta go because my time's almost up. Goodbye.